What is going on, everybody? I am here with a couple awesome members of our amazing draft YouTube community. We have Broshmo on my left, stage right, and Alex from Hail Mary Sports in the legit effing amazing penthouse suite setup that these people let us record in for an hour. We're here to talk some Senior Bowl, obviously, down here in Mobile, Alabama, and today we're going to keep it a little bit short and sweet. The idea is to kind of get daily updates out here at practice, and today we're just going to talk about 4 players that stood out to us and then leave on a note of one thing we're all looking for tomorrow. So thank you guys for joining.
Crazy. Of course.
Yeah, and if you're not following these guys, those links are going to be in the description below. And I think what we'll probably do is kind of play tennis here. So we'll pass day 2 off and day 3 off or however we want to do it. So definitely make sure you're following along because we'll be here hopefully all 3 days as long as we're all still standing.
Not toasted to a crisp.
But I'll pass it off to one of you guys so I'm not talking the entire time. Alex, you want to start with first player that kind of stood out to you from this week?
Yeah, so the one who stood out to me the most was actually Upton Stout out of Western Kentucky. He was kind of he was primarily looked at as a slot corner, but today he took a lot of reps on the boundary. I thought he was extremely fluid. I actually liked the fact that he used some good physicality there as well, and I honestly thought that he looked like he could fit with the best of the best, and I love the fact that he was calm, composed, didn't look extremely stressed, and he looked like he was in his element, which is quite surprising, honestly, for a player that was very limited in the eyes of most coming into this week.
And it's always interesting with cornerbacks because 2/3 of the guys are going to come out here and just get worked all week because these drills, especially the one-on-ones, are just set up for these guys to absolutely fail. So if you come out here and you're like, I didn't catch that guy getting obliterated all week, it's usually a sign that they had a pretty good week. And then if like you said, you see some good reps, you see some good movement skills, you can really get excited about guys and start pushing them up your board a little bit. Brosh, you want to take the next one?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to my favorite university, the U baby. I'm gonna talk about the tight end, Ojo Alua, because coming into the week, I figured, okay, he's gonna be a guy that can tear it up the seams. He's quick turn up field. I got real Luke Musgrave vibes from, or at least from his tape initially.
You got to be careful around a Packers fan bringing up.
Who's that? You got Tucker Kraft. Who's Luke?
I was going to say, we want to hear Tucker Kraft vibes, but go ahead.
But, he's way more, I could just describe it as, shimmy. He's got a little shimmy, a little shake. He had a corner route today that I think was a touchdown. Golly, dude. Because I've never questioned the ball skills, and for him it was he missed a couple of years because of, I think it was an ACL tear, trying to rehab from that. So last year was really the only time he put actual tape on. And I was blown away. I thought it was a good first impression for me.
Yeah, it was my first exposure to him too. And the first thing you notice just warming up is okay, this guy's, was he 6'4", 250? He's a real, actual tight end, which these days it's, those are harder and harder to come by. So, first exposure for me, I haven't gotten into the run blocking tape and stuff, but obviously that's the size you want to say you can put a guy in line and he's actually going to go to work. But I couldn't agree more. He just stood out compared to all the other tight ends out here in terms of I think you put it well, the shimmy, a little bit of,
I don't know what the technical term is,
but leaving guys behind him in his routes. And he did have, I did notice in the team drills, he had an over-the-shoulder catch that he didn't come down with. Yeah. Still had a great day, but if he did come down with that one, it would have been monster game. I'm going to give some love to the Hog Mollies and stay in the Midwest here. I'm going to go with Gray Zabel, interior offensive lineman from North Dakota State. Shout out to his parents, by the way. Lovely humans. Met them in the stands today and congratulated their son on a just unreal first day of the Senior Bowl, but just first impression for, just a little background on myself. Obviously, you guys follow the channel. I don't get into draft until a week or two before where we're sitting here today. So especially with offensive linemen, that's not going to be the first position I pick players to scout from. So it's fun to get the very first impression just completely blind. And, you see the North Dakota State helmet come out there with all these other SEC helmets and stuff. And it's obviously going to be a big week for a guy like Ray Zabel trying to make that jump in level of competition. And it's a just amazing opportunity for guys like him who dominated his level of competition. But how is that going to translate? And, man, I think he had the best day today of anybody in one-on-one reps at least. And seriously, one of the best days I've seen from an offensive lineman at a Senior Bowl. Like, this guy locked up everybody, and he comes in a little bit smaller. I think he's about 6'4", 305, but standing out there, like, right next to these guys, like, he didn't feel small to me. I was actually a little bit surprised when I looked at the measurables and saw that, because he's filled out. It's not like I felt about Cody Mock last year at North Dakota State. He came out first week of the Senior Bowl, felt a little overwhelmed with that transition and felt a little bit lighter. Not the case here with Zabel. The feet were moving. He was countering the counters on the pass rush, sliding left and right. He was moving up and down, left side, right side, snapping balls at center. Was he a tackle?
He's a left tackle.
Okay, there you go. And Mock was the same deal. So just blown away. Really excited to see if he can follow it up. The thing I've been saying is it's the Cody Mock scale to the Quinn Miners scale in terms of like hype coming out of the Senior Bowl. Both guys, small school dudes, got a lot of hype out of the Senior Bowl. Quinn Miners was a guy that one of the most memorable Senior Bowls I've had since I've been coming out here, and this reminded me a lot of that. So definitely excited to kind of get that first.
Missing the crop top.
Yeah, the crop top and the highlight reel of chopping down trees in the middle of Wisconsin. But yeah, all right, I'll pass it off to you, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, another thing about Zabel is that his best tape, honestly, in my opinion, the entire year was the one time he faced NFL competition versus Colorado in Week 1. I thought he did a phenomenal job, even versus very feisty, very powerful, very large defenders like B.J. Green, which for a tackle that is considered to be on an interior of the offensive line, usually not the case, and especially with guys who could be more of those tweeners. But speaking of the offensive line, and someone who I absolutely adored as a tackle who can both hold up there, but also somebody who I think should be playing more in the interior role, is Anthony Belton. Today, he did a fantastic job. He's known to be more of that just road grader, mauler type, and he showed that physicality today, but he took a couple reps on the interior of the offensive line and showed some finesse and showed that even in a phone booth, you do not want to be with this guy. He was able to do proper snatches. He was able to just absolutely lock down pretty much every single rep that I saw with him, and for being able to see that the NFL views him as a potential guard as well was honestly a little bit validating, because it's a little bit concerning when we're stuck in this mindset of, oh, this guy doesn't perfectly fit at tackle, maybe we can kick him into guard. And I felt like with Anthony Belton's measurements at like that 6'6", 336, it wasn't going to be, coming into the Senior Bowl, someone that they would view as a potential guard prospect. But it's good to see he was able to be tested there. They wanted to see him there, and he was able to perform very well there.
I think it's a great opportunity for, and I'm, again, very blind to all of this, presumably maybe a 3rd, 4th, 5th round projection for a guy coming
Currently,
in.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys, it's like, well, obviously you were a tackle in college because that's viewed as the most important position. You're an NFL prospect. We're going to put you at tackle. But would you rather be a backup tackle or actually kick inside? Your talent kind of level raises compared to the guards, and you're an actual starting guard. So it's a huge week, especially in a class that a lot of people consider to be pretty weak on the interior. A lot of opportunity for guys like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to echo that, because I came into this thinking the offensive line group was going to get murdered. Dude, the defensive line is long, they're strong, and I'm just going to kind of wrap two guys into one here with Clay Webb out of Jacksonville State, and you got Jackson Slater out of Sacramento State. Like, they came in bigger than I anticipated, with better arm length, like 32-inch and 33-inch, I think, for Slater. And the fight, golly, man. Going toe-to-toe with, like, a Deion Walker and such. I was just blown back, because I was expecting, like, a vice versa. And, again, these are smaller school guys, granted. With Clay Webb, he was a Georgia recruit, so a little bit more of a pedigree, but still, I was blown away.
All right. I will piggyback off of that with my next impressive player.
Up the offensive line.
I've got another one coming on the next wave, but I'm going to go D-line with Dion Walker. And just kind of being around the gravity. I mean, there's a lot of gravity there. He's a big, big man, but more the gravity of the event and just kind of a lot of interactions with him and coaches and players. And it's just was almost impossible to just not look at this guy who is 6'7", 340 pounds, can move. It was one of the kind of like run blocking drills. And he just kind of like spun off a block, and it's just like two offensive linemen blocking a D tackle. So there's not like a play to be made there, but you just see some of those like little moments with the movement skills with a guy like this. A couple moments I thought in the pass rush opportunities, whether it was in team or I think it was when they all got together at the end of practice. He had a one-on-one opportunity. You can just see like the power in the collision when he hits someone, and I've heard he's going to be falling more like third round, like he's just not had a great season, and a lot of tape still to be grinded, as they say. But it just I walked away feeling like it's going to be damn near impossible for a kid that I have heard just talking to people out here and even out in Dallas for the Shrine Bowl. Just you talk about these guys and what do you hear, and you're with position coaches and scouts and like all this stuff. I haven't heard a bad word about character like this guy wants it. He's super nice. I thought just seeing the interactions with the players seems like just a lovely guy. So I just walked away like this guy, that doesn't last till the third round before I even really get heavy into the tape. Though I did catch him like his freshman year, like just destroying Florida. So
I still remember that tweet.
Yeah.
He was dealing with a nagging injury, so it's like something you have to like watch in context.
Yeah.
But like, dude, they were just stretching today, and it's like, I can't believe how flexible.
He was damn near in the splits. I was talking to you about it. Yeah. I thought that in another universe, he could have been an NHL goalie. He could do the butterfly at 6'7", 340. It's ridiculous.
I can't bend that way anymore.
You do definitely have to bring up, though, he is very skinny in his lower half. Twigs for legs. And I like that about someone like Tim Settle, because Tim Settle is 315, but he's got these kind of tiny legs, so you're actually able to kind of move laterally and do some stuff that other bigger D tackles can't. We've never seen a guy 6'7" where he is always going to be at a leverage disadvantage. If he doesn't have that sand in the pants, as they say, what does that anchor look like? Right. If you're going to be this big, the idea is you stop the run. There's definitely, it's not all perfect with him. I'm not trying to send that home, but I think there was a gravity about his presence.
Yeah, I think that's why they moved him around, because like he was taking some like, I guess quote unquote edge snaps, because I can't remember, it was like Jonas Avenea or I can't remember who the tackle was, and didn't necessarily win the rep, but golly, how fast, how quickly he was moving, trying to rattle off just moves. Didn't work, but still.
He's trying stuff. Yeah. He's really trying stuff, yeah.
Well, I think that's actually, like, going off that, it's kind of a catch-22 because we value how nimble he is, especially for his size, but we also don't like the fact that he doesn't have that lower physicality to really be able to make the stronger plays, but he's able to make more of, in Madden terms, the finesse style of plays. I mean, that's why he can do such a beautiful swim move or spin move, because his lower half is just that nimble. You don't have to move these tree trunks of legs. So I definitely think so. Was that the guy you were talking about? All right, I'll go into my next guy. And you guys are probably like, damn, what happened to the quarterbacks? There was one that I really like, and it was Dillon Gabriel today. We were talking about a rep earlier with Elijah Arroyo that he ended up dropping this beautiful rainbow ball. And to be honest, Elijah Arroyo, fantastic day. Opened him pretty much every single time he ran a route. But Dillon Gabriel was pretty much the most consistent quarterback in terms of ball placement. And even in those 11-on-11 drills, I thought he held a lot of composure, even rolling out of the pocket. I know it wasn't actually full contact, so it's a little bit of a different space, but he ended up going up against JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer several times. We don't see him really breaking character too much, and so I really love that about him. He showed placement at both short, medium, and deep ranges, and he was probably the only quarterback to actually hit a legitimate deep throw today.
Yeah, not a lot of that today.
Yeah, like a lot of he showed the most poise and the most NFL translatability if he actually can be able to stand
Yeah, I thought in like
and more than 5 times.
Short cane.
Yeah.
I felt like he in the 7-on-7 and the team drills, like he was like one of the few guys working the whole field.
Right.
Because like there was that bootleg where he like worked his what was in front of him and then worked all the way back to the other side of the field.
Yeah, Arroyo was on the opposite side of the field.
Yeah, we don't need to bring up Arroyo anymore. It's fine.
I think it was great. I think it's great by both players.
I think that's a big deal though, because. And this is not a shot at any of the other quarterbacks, but a lot of just quick checkdowns today especially. Yeah. And I get it. You don't want to come out and be the guy that threw 3 picks on the first day of the Senior Bowl. But to be Dylan Gabriel, not throw the picks, but actually say, you know what, I know, because these guys are getting, vanilla playbooks. I know this concept. I know what I'm looking for. And just to come out and run that, those are things you can take away from quarterbacks out here. So it's cool.
We'll say it did have a fumble under center. Jackson Dart had to.
Yeah.
Is it me? Yeah. Oh man, let's go with Maxwell Harrison because I thought
we got to be better because
corner out of Kentucky.
Thank you. Yeah, you've been terrible, my friend.
I'm horrible.
Even I'm like, who's he talking about? No, totally kidding.
But
he's not kidding.
I thought he was feisty as hell, man. This was another guy. Kentucky's defense was actually pretty beat up. He played a majority of the year through a shoulder injury. His missed tackle rate like just flew through the roof because like 2023, very reliable, very good run defender. But that's not why I'm here to talk about him. But he was physical and like sometimes to his detriment. I think there was like I was talking to you about it earlier, a little zip or whip route where he probably got the face mask of the receiver, but like to jump the ball, put a hand on it. I can't remember if he came down with it, but like he was out there competing. I didn't see many losses. To be fair, it was a little hard to concentrate. This was the practice they had the cornerbacks and the running back or wide receivers.
They had the one-on-ones
doing everything all at once.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but like anytime I went over there, man, he was just out there doing his job. And I mean, this was someone I think at the beginning of the year, like guys like Dane Brugler and such, had him as a top 50, and then just kind of like got forgotten, got lost in the shuffle because he was just out of sight, out of mind. And I think he's just making that money back.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one takeaway today was let's not let special teams coaches become the head coaches at these clinics because Bubba Ventrone, God bless his soul, excellent special teams coordinator. That was one of the slowest, straight up lamest practices the second round.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the very end that they started to kind of get some fun going.
2 or 3 different punt drills. Like,
yeah.
So, and I just hoping that that's not the case.
Going forward.
All right, next guy I'll talk about is Wyatt Milum.
Gotcha.
I literally asked you guys and still got it wrong. Who's West Virginia, the offensive lineman from West Virginia. I say offensive lineman because he's one of these tackle guard guys. Arm length was, I want to say, like 32 and a half, 32 and 3/4. Yeah. I think he's a guard is my takeaway here because in the one-on-ones, they'd kick him outside, and he would go against quicker edge rushers, and he'd lose his feet. Lose the edge, lose on an inside move, just like bang, bang, back to back. Like, all right, well, that's kind of like literally the thing you're looking for to see if a guy can protect the edge at tackle. But, dude, they put him at guard, and you could just see the skill set was just right. Just the way he matched up physically with bigger defensive tackles, he is strong and tough as shit. And I don't think his feet are necessarily slow. He just maybe doesn't have the range and burst to kind of have those more edge protecting tackle skills. Another thing I liked about him, started a fight, and look, at the end of the day, if you're going to block in the NFL 65, sometimes 80 times a game, you got to want it. You got to be a dick. You got to be a dickhead. And it wasn't like a Trevor Penning situation where he's like ripping guys' helmets off and like genuinely being like an actual asshole.
There's Jefferson from last year.
Exactly. There is a line, and he found it because it was like playing through the whistle type deal. And I can't remember the defensive tackle, but they didn't want to let go of each other. The coaches were telling them to get off, and they kept staying in each other's face. And just a cool moment to kind of see that competitive energy. But definitely in terms of play strength and just looking the part as a guard, I'm definitely intrigued, and it just comes right back to what we were saying earlier about, the opportunity to become like guard number 2 or hell, even guard number 1 in this class. I don't know, but could be a lot of money to be made there in that transition if that's the way he wants to go.
100%. And again, shout out to the Senior Bowl for the fact that they're actually putting these tackles at guard, at center, and they're actually listening. Probably not to us, but at least the league is understanding.
Oh, yeah.
They're not listening to us, but at least the league is understanding, and at least we're seeing what maybe the league should be wanting as well, which is awesome. But
well, and just to interrupt you for a second,
yeah.
The league has plenty of tackles right now, at least starting tackles.
Yeah.
The list of you go through 50 starting tackles, and you're like, pretty freaking good list. Like, I think I was doing studs and duds, and trying to figure out like where I would slot Darnell Wright, who had a great year, and it was like tackle 29, and he's phenomenal. So it's like the league needs these interior offensive linemen. We saw that huge spike in the free agency market last year. Yeah. So there are probably a lot of teams that are like, hey, we need more guards. Like, let's get these guys going. Yeah. So
it's no longer a dirty thing either.
Right.
They're getting paid the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can go out there and be versatile. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, the coolest thing is that Milum and Zabel are both those guys that we thought would be good at interior, didn't really get the chance to be on interior, and then they both shined when they went to the interior. So it's really good to see that, when you can see those projections that they're actually there. But
that's why I want to see Emory Jones.
Oh my God, we need to see that guy. Maybe that's something for the next part of this. But my last guy that I really ended up liking is Jaylen Smith. I've graded like 50 corners. He was not one that was on the high priority list. And I'm a guy, he's a slot corner for USC.
Thank you.
There we go. I got you that time. I caught myself. Well, he played boundary as well, correct? He played some boundary.
He played boundary.
Yeah, he played boundary.
Past year.
But he's projected based on his measurables to potentially be in the slot. So something I really loved about him, and you can see this right off the bat, extremely fluid, extremely explosive. But you add on top of that Broshmo here ended up actually filling me in because he studied him a lot more than me. I ended up saying, like, hey, I haven't studied this guy. What is he like? Very physical as well. And
piss and vinegar in the run game.
Yes, let's go.
And I love that to death. The moment there was some like one-on-one drills where there's a wide receiver and they pretty much have this quasi-press rep and then they bail to go for seeing if they can high point a pass, you could see right away that his press form is incredible. Like, he's square to the target, uses his full length, and he's not just like absolutely lunging trying to punch the guy in terms of desperation. He actually likes to be physical and does it well. I don't necessarily know yet if it's going to translate to the field as well as what it looked like in practice, but what I can see is that that's the bones of somebody that I absolutely adore and somebody who I'll very much support if I can see a little bit more positivity down the road.
Nice. Well, I liked Walter Nolan, defensive interior out of Ole Miss. He came in a little lighter this week, but this was a guy that over the summer he put on about like 10 to 15 pounds for this past season, or at least that's how Ole Miss listed him at. But he's here at 293, and I thought he still looked strong as hell. Like, he was out there manhandling, whether it was to, hey, go penetrate, go win it on the one-on-ones, or if it was like the run drills or team drills, or he would eat a double team, not concede ground, fill his gap. And I thought this is a former 5-star who I think sky's the limit. Like, it's only up from here. He's just starting to just meet that potential, right?
Was he the number one player in his high school class as well?
Yeah,
or at least he was.
I think he was
as
the recruit.
Yeah. So
and I mean, there's still areas like he needs to polish in his game, but in terms of, I think you're gonna hate this, tools.
We love tools.
That's
my
keyword. Yeah.
Good. I just love him. I mean, for me, I came in like, for me, he's like a top 20 guy. And as far as day one, like, I kind of felt it because, like, again, the offensive line definitely impressed me a ton, and that was kind of at the
going
expense.
Against good guys.
Kind of at the expense of the defensive line, and I felt like Walter Nolan was one of those guys that was letting me down, I should say.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, Marcus, you're going to agree with this since we were just at the Shrine. At the Shrine, when you see guys pop, you feel like it's legitimate NFL talent, guys who deserve to be drafted. When you see it here start to pop, you know that they're actually going to be potentially starters. And potentially even stars, for that matter. So it's really good to be able to see them with those levels of competition rise above, because we know this is all NFL level talent. Now we're seeing NFL starting / star
tier everybody off.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to pivot, guys. I originally was going to talk about Trey Amos just because, kind of like I was saying earlier, if you see a guy have some good reps and he's not getting picked on, figure he had a good day. And I did feel that way about Amos, who I think was probably the top corner practicing today between the two.
Definitely up there.
So,
Definitely up there, for sure.
Look the part, check the boxes. But just as we were standing here, I remembered, and I had to look up his name, Oladejo
What team?
Alua
It's the UCLA.
Alua.
Oh, yes.
Alua Femi.
Okay.
So this was UCLA defensive end.
Yeah.
Obviously, I had never heard of this guy until about 10 a.m. this morning. And yeah, explosive. Seemed long. I'm sorry, I'm totally pivoting here, but seemed the length was good and everything.
Yeah.
And dude he wanted it. Like there was like 3 seconds left in the drill,
Yep.
and he's like up in his coach's face, and he's like, come on, let me get out there one more time, and he's like, get off me, like we gotta go in the, and he might have been the one that got in the fight with Milum. I'll have to go back and check that.
It might have been.
It was because I don't know if it was, but I know he got in a scuffle later on because I thought it was Donovan Ezraku. Because I was like, oh, okay, the gold helmet. Okay, that's winning off the edge. Yeah, that's Ezraku.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was this UCLA guy, and I haven't even watched him yet.
Right.
Neither have I. That's why I was so surprised. I was like, wow.
Kind of a guy popping out. Just they put him at guard a little bit. He is 6'2", 262. So he's going to be an edge, but cool to see him kind of slide inside. And, he's big enough for pass rush downs and stuff. You can put him inside. And he just – I don't even remember what guard he was going against, but he's totally crossed the dude's face, which, yeah, you're putting an edge on the inside. That's what you expect, but not everybody does that super well. So, yeah, definitely just someone that was like, oh, okay, we're going to have to go watch this guy.
Yeah.
All right, so let's wrap up with one thing we're looking for tomorrow. Could be anything.
For me, I'm a big Azariah Thomas guy. And today
Who is?
A cornerback out of Florida State. Thank you. I'm still getting to it.
It's easy when I genuinely don't know who you're talking about. So it's like I'm thinking what everybody
you're
else is
helping me out. Yeah. But cornerback Florida State. But he's about 6'2", 190, 195 pounds, and he is known as one of the more high-profile, high-project type of guys. Played 500 reps last year, finally got his first chance to start, and he did extremely well. I think it was only like 70 yards when he was actually in one-on-one coverage this entire year, and he started every game. So came into the Senior Bowl with a lot of hype. A lot of guys said, like, hey, this is going to be my guy, and today I thought that he kind of looked a little bit less explosive than when I saw him in person at SMU. I got to see him before, so I got to be able to see A and B essentially, and I thought that maybe he's dealing with something, but he looked like he was more so running in quicksand. I don't know if that's a change in technique or if that's just genuinely maybe like seeing it from a different position. Drills give you a different point of view. So I'm hoping to see him do a little better because I saw separation by the majority of wide receivers he was one-on-one with, which is not the case on his regular tape.
Yeah, I'm looking for the offensive line to continue to impress because typically it's not going to happen the other way. These guys are going to get accustomed to like, okay, he likes this move or he's going to hit me with like this step or whatnot. And if they just keep going like bigger and stronger, like I feel like I've slept on this class. And it's egg on my face and it's a big feel bad, but I'm looking them to continue to impress the next 2 days, especially against again, one of the best, I think, defensive line classes in recent memory, especially on the interior.
Well, I think that, it's the best kind of egg-in-your-face moment is when you're a little bit down and you're like, wow, this class actually has more talent.
Yeah.
I was like, it's good to be pleasantly surprised with being wrong. So it's the best kind of outcome.
Thank you.
It's the best kind of outcome, man.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of linemen we didn't even talk about today that are highly rated guys that also played well today. So number one thing I'm looking for, and I don't know how the camera quality is, but is definitely some freaking sunscreen because
we're toast.
I'm feeling it. Yeah. In Minnesota we just don't get exposed to the sun or our thumbs will fall off. So definitely didn't have a built-up resistance there, but. I am going to give the people what they want and talk a little bit about Jaylen Milroe. I think it was just fully admittedly like I just kind of got unlucky today because that was something I was really looking for was to see the arm strength from him because for one reason or another, shameless plug, he's one of the players I do have full evals written up on my Patreon. But we're doing this one on my channel, right?
Dude, you can shout out your Patreon on my channel. I don't care.
No, I just didn't get a great read on the true arm strength because he's obviously a project. He's got great athleticism, but there's a different measure if you're like, okay, we're talking about like solid average arm because there's a lot of throws on tape where I just like just kind of hangs in the air a little bit or doesn't fully drive it. And then there's some throws where you're like, it looked pretty good, but sometimes the camera angles are a little weird. So to get the sense of arm strength out here at these events is like, to me, maybe the number one thing you can really take away. Yeah. Like I remember the Kenny Pickett year. It was like, okay, none of these guys can throw. Great. Yeah, this is going to be an awesome quarterback class.
Get him another glove to put on.
Can he be Kenny 4 gloves? But no, just admittedly, when my eyes would go to Milrow, he would be throwing a check down.
Every time.
And there was a lot of that. I'm not going to jump on him yet. I have a very bad history of slamming on Alabama quarterbacks.
It's early
from this event, but just strictly speaking from an arm strength perspective, I didn't see it today for one reason or another, and I do want to see him, maybe in one-on-ones get some more looks down the field and whatever, and get a better sense of the arm. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to throw to that middle tier, that middle level, because that's where you try to see them throw with more velocity, keep it on more of a straight line than necessarily those deep shots. And we saw that the Senior Bowl is tracking the ball speed. Yeah. And so today, Dylan Gabriel threw like a 70-mile-per-hour ball. So I'm excited to see.
Whoa, what?
79. That's what they tracked. Not my stat. 79.
Right, yeah, that's not.
It doesn't sound right.
That's not right.
That's their count. That says initial velocity. They said 79.
Oh, initial.
So okay, like I don't know. I don't know, but I'm excited to see if we can see some more quarterbacks being a little bit more aggressive, so that we can see some competitive stats there and be able to actually get a true test of what they can do.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that was awesome, guys. I think they're going to kick us out of here in about 2 minutes, so I think we did good. Hopefully we can just kind of redo this, and we'll share it out and announce kind of where day 2 and day 3 will be. We still got to sort through. We're putting it together as we go, but really, really appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure you're subscribed, obviously, to Brosh and Alex at Hail Mary Sports. But that's all we got. You guys got any parting words?
No, I mean, we're here every single time for the draft, and we love the draft season 24/7. So if you guys just want more content to watch, we'd be more than happy to have you.
Yeah, let's have football discourse.
All right.
Peace out, guys.